Welcome back to Cask and Point. Today we're going to try something fun. We are trying 13-year Four Roses single barrel strength. Now, a good buddy of mine sent me a sample of this. This is from a few years back. It's 112 proof. And it's really weird because these single barrel strengths, at least the ones we get today, are always going to be between 8 and 11 years old. I've never seen one that's younger than 8 years old, and very, very rarely do I see one that's over 11 years old. And most of those are going to be like your special editions, like your 16-year Father's Day edition that sells for $700 or $800 on secondary markets today. And I've heard is just absolutely out of this world, and maybe one day we'll get to try it. But today we're going to try something weird, which is 13 years old, much older than a typical Four Roses single barrel strength. And it is OBSF, which if you don't remember from the time in which I reviewed all 10 recipes, which I'd highly recommend you check out, OBSF is, if we check out a little cheat sheet here, it is the mint, fruity, spicy, and full body Four Roses. Now, the B means it is the 35% mash bill, so this is the higher rye mash bill, and then other 60% corn, 5% malted barley, and then the F is going to be the more like herbal yeast strain of the 5. There's V, K, O, Q, and F. So F being that, the last one and more of an herbal floral one. So I've heard some weird things about some older Four Roses, so I'm really, really excited today. This is the first time I'm really going out of the wheelhouse and really trying something weird from Four Roses. This isn't just a normal single barrel strength or the limited edition. So let's get right into it and see just how good a 13-year OBSF really is, and if we should really wish that Four Roses wasn't holding back at us and giving us these older picks more regularly. And I notice here there is quite a bit to unpack. So it's definitely starting off with a really strong cherry note that I get on a lot of the Four Roses single barrel strengths, but then it's turning into like a very toasty and creamy oak here. Yeah, there's definitely a little bit more oak presence on this than what I'm used to for the single barrel strengths, which is expected. This is a little bit older. Not a ton of ethanol heat and punch on this, definitely smelling like it's, about 112 proof. But there's caramel, there's a little bit of maple on this, there's a ton of vanilla. And there's definitely a little bit of those herbal notes there, like a little bit of lavender on that, a little bit of cloves, but really not that much, not nearly as much as I was expecting. And maybe a really, really light kind of like sugar cane on there, which I think is coming from the rye, but I'm not really getting any rye spice or pepper on this. But overall, it smells really good. Let's try it. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that has some bite to it too. So, actually a very similar flavor profile on the palate than on the nose. It's going to start off with, those good fruity flavors, really like a nice, maraschino cherry note on there. And then it's going to really ease you into a toasty oak, some butter, some cream. And then at the end, it starts getting a little bit of rye spice and a little bit of pepper. But that's a very well-built pour. Really, really good. Definitely better than any of the single barrel strengths I've had so far. And we've tried a few of the T6s on the channel. There are 6 tiers to Four Roses. Typically in a Four Roses, typically in any warehouse, there are 6 floors or 10 floors or something like that. For example, Old Forester, they have 8 floors. And so usually the higher floor, the better. But in Four Roses, it's actually 1 floor. And they call these tiers because they actually line up all the whiskey in height row, which is actually really, really cool. So tier just means it's higher than, it's literally right above 5 other barrels of whiskey. So it's not that much different, which is why I think they don't command that much higher on secondary. But still, the proofs end up getting 20 proof points higher sometimes. So anyways, that's all to say, I don't know what tier this is. Probably a tier 3 or 4. And I'm just judging it based off the fact that it's 112 proof. But it's really, really good. Let's take a second sip here. Yeah. So it's not blowing me away, but it's really more reminiscent of a Four Roses limited edition like the 2021 that I have here. This one, then I think it's reminiscent of like a single barrel strength, because on the single barrel strengths, I'm used to getting a lot of punch. And this is probably just because I tend to lean towards drinking the 120 and 125 proof single barrel strengths, whereas the limited editions are going to be in that 106 to 114 range. So 112 falling right between that, 13 years also falling right in there. So definitely really similar to a limited edition. I'm trying to think if I like it more than like the 2024 limited edition Four Roses, and it's close. I don't think I do, but I will take another sip here before I decide. Yeah, the mouthfeel on that is really nice. Really viscous, a lot of caramel on that. That's a well-built pour. Now, it's not blowing me away. And for today, I'm going to rate it an 8.0. And that's just because I want more punch if I'm really going to rate it higher than that. I want more complexity, more flavor, and I think that there are some good flavors going on here, but it's not that unique. Like, it's not that different from, I think, a lot of other the Four Roses that I've had. It's not absolutely blowing me away, but I do really like it. And I am really excited to see, if we get to try a 16-year or an 18-year or anything like that sometime soon, which I think we will be able to. I'm really, really excited to see what else Four Roses has for store, but it just kind of tastes like a slightly older variant of like a really smooth and good high quality OBSF, but it's not actually super herbal, which probably is to its benefit because I don't love herbal notes, but it's not giving me that much more than I think a normal single barrel roast strength, which I would rate probably in the high 7s. So I'm gonna rate that an 8.0. Definitely, if you somehow catch an older OBSF or anything, definitely pick it up. It's definitely gonna be better, which you probably expected, so. But it's not that much better, so don't go crazy. But anyways, thank you all for watching. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day. I hope you all learned something, and I will catch you all in the next one.